Hello everyone. The following is a summary of floods, a natural disaster which is profound information about human strength in facing disasters, and at the same time, a call for solidarity to combat the negative effects of climate change. Now, let's go. Heavy rains continue to occur in southern China, causing widespread flooding in Liuzhou City in the Guangxi-Zhuang Autonomous Region. Mobile phone footage showed fast-flowing water, causing dozens of vehicles to be swept away by floodwaters in downtown Liuzhou, while also warning the community of the risk and providing support to those affected. Floods can pose a major risk to communities and infrastructure. Cities and villages may be flooded, roads cut off, and the risk of landslides increased. For people, this is not only a daily nuisance, but also a threat to life and property. The Belgian government regularly takes measures to reserve and minimize damage from floods. Early warning systems are in place to alert the community to the risk, and rescuers are on standby to help those in need. Devastating floods. Earthquake in Turkey swept away cars and killed at least 10 people. Floodwaters swept away cars and debris, flooded the basements and ground floors of some buildings, and turned roads into rivers in central Sanliurfa. The National Disaster Management Agency said efforts were underway. Search and rescue of the missing and those trapped in their buildings continued by divers and boats. The agency said more than 100 millimeters per meter of rain fell in the affected provinces in the past 24 hours. The provinces, home to about 2.7 million people, were affected by last month's earthquake that killed more than 48,000 people in Turkey and left millions homeless. The tragedy occurred when relentless rainfall and rising river levels caused widespread flooding in a region of the United States. Floodwaters inundated homes and farmland, swamping communities in Breathitt County. Kentucky, as the eastern part of the state suffered severe flooding this week, fell into a deadlock. Emergency rescuers rushed to evacuate residents, overcoming dangerous currents and rising water. The devastation left behind by the floods was heartbreaking, with submerged homes and vital infrastructure was violated. Local authorities declared a state of emergency, mobilizing rescue teams, shelters, and aid distribution centers. People cling to life amid floods near Lima. These were the scenes in the east of the Peruvian capital on Friday, as a river burst its banks, turning streets into muddy water nationwide. Dozens of people, one after another, died in the flood. Rescue troops joined workers using ropes and pulleys to get people out of threatened buildings and to safety. The legend has no way to overcome, but many people want to go home. Footage captured the scene of an empty bus being swept away by the raging waters of the Beas River in Himachal Pradesh, northern India, after heavy rain and flash floods. The end of a blue chariot can be seen hanging over a muddy mountainside as it hovers above the water. The car can be seen submerged in thick brown water as it is swept downstream. Floods can pose a major risk to communities and infrastructure. Cities and villages may be flooded, roads will be cut off, and the risk of landslides will increase. Many cars will be swept away by the water. For people, this is not only a daily nuisance, when a rainstorm hits an area, it can cause a variety of problems, including floods, landslides, and drought. Districts and areas in the path of storms often face a high risk of loss of life and property. Heavy rain can lead to flooding when the amount of water suddenly increases, there is insufficient drainage space to handle it, and the water overflows the banks. This can flood streets, homes, and grasslands, posing many safety challenges and consequences for the community. Footage taken by a witness showed cars swept away by floodwaters along residential streets. Floods can pose a major risk to communities and infrastructure. Cities and villages may be flooded, roads cut off, and the risk of landslides increased. The flooding caused some property damage, and hundreds of people were said to have been evacuated. In June 2023, the Chinese people faced a severe challenge when a flood swept across many areas of the country, causing unforeseeable damage. Famous international rivers such as the Huanghe River, Yangtze River, and Mekong River have overflowed, causing thousands of households to lose their lives and happiness. Provinces and cities in central and southern China are the places that suffered the heaviest losses. Images from the media and social networks showed houses being swept away and hundreds of cars flooded and swept away. The fields are completely gone, and people are having to evacuate to avoid danger. The dikes and flood control systems also face many difficulties under great pressure from the water flow. Floods in Tibet can carry terrible power, washing away everything in its path, including houses, causing great damage to the community. On days of heavy rain, children rivers like the Mekong can overflow their banks, increasing the risk of flooding and landslides. Riverside villages often face the risk of being swept away or submerged in floodwaters. Images of houses being swept away, cars sunk in the sea, turning into debris in the water. In Barranquilla, Colombia police rescued a woman who was traveling in a taxi when the rain hit the vehicle. The fast-flowing water swept away the woman. Fortunately, she was saved by the police and people. People responded. The water was so strong that it swept away the taxi. They tried to hold it back, but were unsuccessful. Unfortunately, the taxi did not have much lucky. Thanks for your watching. Hope you have time to feel about climate change. Please like, share, and subscribe to get more of our updates every day. Goodbye and see you again.